Jason Cabral is just a regular guy, and he decided he was going to make a campaign ad for Allison Hartson, who, of course, is running for the U.S. Senate. She's trying to take down corporate Democrat Dianne Feinstein in California. This is a really awesome ad. It was posted by TYT Politics. I wanted to take a look, and then we'll discuss.
I worked for a dental management corporation. It was a growing corporation, amazing people that I worked with, and they offered me to take over their insurance department to run it. They would have been making a real pretty penny, like a lot of money, and I took the weekend to think about it, and I came back and I gave them my 2 months notice, and I decided
So let me just say before we continue with this here, I think a lot of people in my audience are like me in that you guys largely don't give a shit. No offense to Allison or to anybody, but we don't really give a shit about personal stories. We care, like, okay, what policies are you for? And that's it. Let's move forward. In other words, you could run an election where you send me a fucking index card in the mail that tells me where you stand on all the issues. And I think that's a better system and makes more sense than the fucking stupid system we have now where you run for president for like a year and a half and it's just a pain in the ass and it's like a soap opera and all that stuff. So I think you and I all agree to that. But you'll see here at a certain point, Allison will start pouring on the policy stuff heavy. But beyond that, she's actually a rare case where her personal story is really interesting, even to me, and I'm as cynical as they come, and I really don't give a shit about personal stories. I'm almost on the spectrum in how much I don't care about personal stories, but it's really interesting. So just hang tight, and we'll watch the rest, and you'll see when the policy starts coming.
I was going to instead focus on finishing college. I have 8 brothers and sisters, a very large family, and I've been the only person in my family who has been able to have the opportunity to graduate college. And I did that with a fierce determination to become a teacher. And it was difficult, and it was a sacrifice, and it was a pay cut, but at the end of the day, I have always asked myself, what are my values? Where do they come from? Are they mine? And am I really living by them? And that was what helped me make that decision to become a teacher, and it was what helped me make the decision to leave teaching, that what really was my life and is my heart, to fight to get big money out of politics, because I saw while I was teaching that how money in our political system is affecting not just schools as this like objective word, but human beings, my students who I cared so much about, and their families. They're first, second, third generation immigrants from Mexico, primarily at the school I taught at, and Vietnam. And I saw some of my students, they're like my kids. I saw some of those families being ripped apart by immigration policies. And just one thing after another, I couldn't take it anymore. And so I had to leave that to get this done sooner so that we can help more people around the country and in the state. And that's when I decided to get involved in the movement, and it was through that I found Wolfpack through doing a Google search online. Wolfpack is a political organization that is solely working on the issue of money in politics, and specifically to get that 28th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. And, I read the plan. I read Wolfpack's plan online, and it was not only the most logical plan, but it was the most aggressive one. And I understand, and I know that the people of this country and the state of California in particular understand that this issue of our democracy being corroded by the wealthy elite who are incapable of understanding, not necessarily bad people, but just incapable of understanding the issues that we deal with, is systemic, and it's urgent. It is fiercely urgent. We've got to do everything we can right now, and that's why I made the difficult decision to leave teaching to do this full time. We have to do that, and while we're doing that, we also have to make sure that we have Medicare for all throughout the country, that we have a $15 minimum wage that is tied to inflation. Every human being deserves to make a living wage. And we need to make sure that students who earn their way into college can afford it. We need free tuition for college. We need to deprivatize our public education system. We need to deprivatize our private prisons and our detention centers. The list goes on. They all feed on one another. And so we need people in Congress who are going to understand that all of these issues have to be moving forward at the same time. Dianne Feinstein is not a Democrat. And just because you have a D after your name doesn't mean you're a Democrat. And I think that people are waking up to that reality. And so she is a corporatist. Some people think that she's a Republican, and she's proven this time and again with her votes. You know, she voted for the Bush tax cuts. The Bush tax cuts gave us $1.5 trillion of debt. And she's not going to pay for that. We're going to pay for that. Our kids are going to pay for that. That's what she voted for. She voted for the Iraq War. The Iraq War cost $7 trillion. So she voted for us to spend $7 trillion to kill hundreds of thousands of civilians for what I consider to be an illegal war. Voting for a war where you don't have hard evidence that justifies us going into that war, as far as I'm concerned, is treason. She does not deserve to be sitting in office. I can't believe that she's still sitting in office after the votes that she has cast. She supported the TPP. She's against Glass-Steagall. She supports the death penalty. She is for the war on drugs. In 2010, she led a campaign against legalizing marijuana. She is against Medicare for all. Dianne Feinstein is worth an estimated $80 million. She's taken millions of dollars from Big Pharma. She's taken millions of dollars from corporations. She's taken millions of dollars from defense contractors. And these influence her decisions. And it's no surprise.
Dude, make it stop. God damn. That's goodness gracious. Okay, I'm like trying to jot down all the policy stuff as she's talking, and I'm like, I can't fucking keep up. This is like, god damn, this is like Tyson versus Spinks. You remember that? You probably don't. Some of you probably weren't even alive when that happened. I was fucking really young when that happened, but you can go see the video on YouTube probably now. It's like, it was supposed to be a big title fight, Tyson versus Spinks, and Tyson knocks him out in like 8 seconds. Everybody's like, oh, okay, I guess we go home now. Can you imagine paying like fucking $8,000 to sit in the front row for that fight, and then it's just like, yeah, all right, let's get it started. Okay, it's done? Oh, it's over? What the fuck? Allison, that's what you're doing to her. Oh my god. I almost feel bad for her. I mean, she's a terrible person and her voting record is terrible, but like, goddamn, holy shit, you're fucking leaving her like a bloody pulp on the floor here. Okay, let's watch the rest of it. I think it's almost done.
And so as long as we get out there and we vote and help me to get the word out, and let's do this together. This isn't about me. This is about us. All of us have got to come together and show up every single day to make up for the money that she's going to raise. And that's what we're going to do.
I can't tell you how much I love that. So you have, she calls for Medicare for all, $15 minimum wage, and I love how she said tie it to inflation, because that's a part of the movement that not as many people bring up as often, but that's just as important as the $15 minimum wage. Because let's say we get a $15 minimum wage. Well, if you don't tie it to inflation, what happens is you're going to have to revisit the issue in 10 years again and say, well, $15 now is worth what $10 used to be worth. So now it's worth a lot less. So, for example, in 1968, the minimum wage in 1968 is worth about, if it stayed the same, if it was tied to inflation from 1968, it'd be worth about $10 or $11 today. So our minimum wage of $7.25 is actually worth less than the minimum wage was worth in 1968. That's an amazing fact. So that's why it's so important that when you get a living wage, you tie it to inflation, because if you don't tie it to inflation, you're going to have to keep revisiting the issue, and we're going to have a fight on a living wage every 10 years or so, which is just wild. So I love the fact that she brought that up, because very few people bring that up. Sometimes I even forget to bring it up when I'm talking about the issue, and it's so important. So $15 minimum wage tied to inflation, she says free college, she says ban private prisons. And then when she goes through Feinstein's record, holy shit. So Feinstein supported the Bush tax cuts, the Iraq War. She supported TPP. She's against Glass-Steagall. She's for the death penalty, even though, by the way, 4% of the time, the death penalty kills the wrong people. So Dianne Feinstein is in favor of state-sanctioned murder. Thank you, Dianne. And she's for the war on drugs. California, liberal California, where they just legalized recreational marijuana. Dianne Feinstein, your senator, is not only against that, she's for the war on drugs. She wants to lock you up in a cage if you decide to tweak your consciousness with marijuana. Who the fuck on earth, if you live in California and you're a fan of secular talk and you're not going to vote for Allison Hartson in the primary, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with you. I'm actually mad at you if that's what happens. I'm mad I don't live in California, because if I lived in California, I'd be so happy and proud to go cast a vote for Allison. I've said this repeatedly about so many of the candidates that are running nowadays. I mean, Paula Jean Swearingen in West Virginia. I'm sad I can't go vote for her. I'm sad I can't vote for Amy Villela, who's running for the House, and I think it's Nevada's 4th district. I'm mad I can't vote for Alex Ocasio-Cortez. You know, she's in New York, but it's not my district. So I'm like, fuck. All these great candidates, you'd be crazy if you don't go vote for them, and you'd also be crazy if you're not, if you have some spare time and you want to get involved, get involved. They need people like you, 100%. And even if all you do to be involved in this is, you know, donate a couple bucks, or if you share, that video or this video to try to get the word out there about Allison Hartson, that's like, that alone has a reverberating effect. And so Allison Hartson has given up higher paying jobs to take lower paying jobs because there was more of a fulfilling angle to the lower paying jobs. She fought to get money out of politics and got the resolution passed in many states for Wolfpack. And now she's a crusader to be a U.S. senator. And in a world that made sense, where all things were equal, where you get equal media coverage, where you had a debate in front of the world for everybody to see, Dianne Feinstein versus Allison Hartson, Allison would win hands down. But you have to remember, the system is colossally biased against her. So that's why it's not a guarantee that she wins, even though she's a better candidate by far and away. For one thing, she doesn't take corporate PAC money, which is a gigantic disadvantage. It's an institutional disadvantage, because that means Dianne Feinstein has more money to run more ads, to get her name out there even more, and she's been a senator for so long, so she already has tremendous name recognition. So in a sense, Allison Hartson has a big hill to climb, like Bernie Sanders did when he was running against the biggest political machine in U.S. history with Hillary Clinton. So don't fail her. Don't fail her. Do not fail her, because this is one of those, you have no excuse now. I mean, she's for everything that you're for. And she's a take no shit kind of person. And what else is there to say, man? What a great ad this was. Holy shit. It just goes to show you, just regular everyday people are oftentimes so incredibly talented, and they beat the shit out of, you know, people who might do this for a living. People who might be part of some organization. Oh, we make political ads. Well, your ads suck ass. And you got regular people like Jason Cabral here, who's like, yeah, let me show you how it's done. Look at this. This is fucking amazing. This is so great. So anyway, I love this, and I had to share it with you.